Let's kick this off with a premise. Right-wing comedians suck. I mean, that's not an opinion, it's a verifiable fact. They're sophomoric, mean, scatological, and simply not funny. Unless you're sophomoric, scatological, mean, and generally a dick. Then it's right down your alley. And Trump, along with Joe Rogan and his cabal of right-wing cockwaffles, have taken our language and turned it into a beer fart.
Her handlers are coming out. You don't think China was watching that going, oh my gosh, she's so funny?
I got on a plane in 2010, way before anything else. Yeah. I look over, there was an Asian guy wearing a mask on the plane. Now, I didn't know why, but I bought him, I started doing it too. You know why? Because I copy off of Asians. That's how I roll, all right? I don't need to know what they're doing, I copy, all right? That's how I got into college. It works. See? And in college, I sat between two Asians, I got straight A's also. I learned, you sit between two Wongs, you get everything right.
Comedian Marc Maron is a comedian's comedian. I mean, he's liberal, I guess you would say, but I think he's just smart and tired of intellectually lazy people.
I think on a deeper level, the reason we're not more upset about the world ending environmentally is I think all of us in our hearts really know that we did everything we could. We really, right? I mean, we really did. I mean, think about it. We brought our own bags to the supermarket. Yeah, that's about it. Like we brought the bags right when they told us. We brought them, and it just wasn't enough, it turns out. Just not enough to, get us over the top with this. But I don't know, maybe this straw thing, the no straw thing, maybe that'll do it. Maybe that'll keep the polar bears from drowning. Sometimes the answer is right between your mouth and your soda, and you just take that out of the equation and the human species survives. You know what I mean?
You heard him. He just smacked liberals with that joke about saving the planet. That's the truth. I know him tangentially, but I've always admired his work, and the fact that he punches up, truth to power, not placating idiot crowds to get a laugh, I call it kind of brave. And when you're on stage and the crowd isn't buying your premise, well, time stands still. And many comedians just cheat. They steal other people's material, or they simply play to a meanness I call punching down. But today, right now, Marc Maron, who has interviewed thousands of people on his WTF podcast, is speaking out about right-wing comedy. In his newsletter today, one day after we attacked Iran with 125 planes and 36,000-pound bombs, he called out the anti-woke comedians, this time for their role in helping Donald Trump make America a military dictatorship. It's finally here, American authoritarianism with a fully functioning fascist cultural apparatus. We get to live in real fear all the time now. I hope it was all worth it so you can just say the R word again. The R word he's referring to is retarded, and if you have a mentally or physically challenged person in your life, it hurts. Life is hard enough without people mocking you.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded. In that...
Trump had to be persuaded from calling Biden retarded Joe instead of settling on sleepy. And Rogan, he celebrates the renewed use.
every time I see people that disagree with anything that's happening, any gigantic world events, it's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. We brought it. Yeah. We were just talking about that.
You did it early.
The word retarded is back. And it's one of the great culture victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts. But
it's totally unnecessary. But I wouldn't expect a hack of a comedian like Rogan to get it. He's lazy, and with his tapping into these right-wing cuckolds, he will feed them hate because he doesn't have the ability or the balls to do anything else. And that's the difference between comedy and whatever these assholes are saying. But this word in particular defines the Trump era. Trump mocked this disabled reporter.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said.
Then he attacked Rosie O'Donnell.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
And during a deposition with Jane Carroll's attorney, Carroll was a woman he raped, Trump not so subtly said as he was leaving the room, "See you next Tuesday." Ask somebody what that means. And he empowered the likes of Matt Gaetz, accused of sex with underage girls, to say this.
Why is it that
the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions. Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb.
I remember when I was a kid and I heard this redneck tell a joke with the N-word in it. My dad was a cop. He pulled me away from the crowd and said what I heard was wrong for two reasons. One, he said the guy was a coward. My dad asked me what would have happened if he'd said that in front of a few black friends of his. And two, black people, many of whom he had arrested in D.C., were already dealing with poverty and racism. The joke was piling on.
Of course, strong independent women hate Donald Trump because his policies mean that they will ultimately have to pay for birth control. And if there's anything a strong independent woman really hates, is to pay for her own stuff. The U.S., it's a big problem for casual sex because in these blue states, a lot of single women are angry. They're like, are you telling me that tonight when I go clubbing, I need to find somebody who could potentially step up to the situation and take care of me and the baby if the baby comes up? Are you telling me that tonight when I go clubbing, before I open my legs for this total stranger, I need to first ascertain that he is responsible and kind? Thank you very much, Supreme Court.
I find this guy very emblematic of the problem. He's attacking women and mocking them with the same logic. We got more coming up in a minute, but first I want to tell you real quick about Medicare and the Medicare enrollment system. I understand now why they call it the Medicare maze. I like to think I'm fairly smart, but it's so easy to miss things because the industry is far from transparent. Fortunately, I just learned about Chapter. After a quick 30-minute call with them, my wife and I will save between, hang on to your hats, $50,000 to $80,000 over the course of our lives. Chapter is completely independent. It's the only national Medicare advisor that compares every available plan. And when you call, you talk to an honest, patient, and unbiased advisor who's going to walk you through everything step by step. There's no pressure to sign up. And look, if you're already on the right plan, Chapter will be the first to tell you. Call Chapter right now. The number's on the screen. 816-953-0071. That's 816-953-0071.
I don't think anything's ever going to get better ever again. I don't want to bump anybody out, but I think this is pretty much the way it's going to be for however long it takes us to polish this planet off. And don't misunderstand me, I have no hope. I think if you have hope, what are you, fucking 7? Again, I don't want to be negative, but you kind of know it's true, right? In your heart, you know that it's fucking over, right? I know it's hard to handle. Culturally, politically, climate-wise. What are you going to do about the climate? Nothing. I think in the back of our heads we're like, well, you know, I don't want to get in the way of any of that Swedish teenager's doing, you know.
Right-wing comedians aren't just bad comedians, they're bad people. Comedy or levity is an outgrowth of irony, which is the exact opposite of what the audience expects. It's a craft that has an easily understood template. Set up an expectation, then deliver the opposite. Comedian Bill Hicks had the classic joke in that regard when he said, when I was a kid on the playground, other kids would say to me, my dad can beat up your dad, to which I would say, when? It's brilliant. It's clean, inclusive, a little revealing, and self-deprecating, and it brings people together with an acknowledgement that families can be hard. Fran Lebowitz is a great writer and very funny, and once said, anyone who says writing is easy sucks at it. That's pretty much a legacy for every right-wing comic, and this guy too.
Goddamn right.
Do you have no shame?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock!
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.